It's a common knowledge in Nigeria that before the amalgamation of the country that is now known as Nigeria came together, there were several hundreds of ethnic nationalities that make up the geographical location now known as Nigeria. Yes, after the British were able to subjugate the last empire standing, which is the Benin Empire, then they proceeded to amalgamate the country in 1914. And the British ruled Nigeria with all its mechanism and with all its tactics for 46 good years, and within which period they had to work every necessary modality to train some of the indigenous people in all of the geographical locations that make up the federation, and then make sure that they have people who are loyalists to handle the power too. And that was the arrangement. And also what they did was to be able to groom and encourage these nationalities that were most suitable and loyal into a very a gigantic ethnic groups that will form the colossus and the gladiators that will further take over the reign and the rule of the country going forward since the handover of power in 1960. Yes, every one of us is a student of history, and we do understand that Nigeria, as it were, was not Wa-Zo-Bia in the beginning. The Wa-Zo-Bia was the British formation. It was a British idea to groom these groups who were not big, who were not as large as they are today, but encourage all other ethnic groups to be put together into some geographical contraction that they drew the map in their own way. So they delineated the map of Nigeria and gave a larger proportion of the landmarks to the north. As it were, the eastern got some chunk of it and the west had some chunk. And of course, where was the south? No geographical area was bequeathed to the south because of the Benin Empire. Because also you must realize that the British had to conquer the Benin Empire before they could even start any work in Nigeria. Yes, we know the history of Nigeria as it were. Well, what am I talking about? The Wa-Zo-Bia became the three elephants in the bush that had to become the colossus and the gladiator, and they had the power to be able to rule the jungle. However, the British did not stop there. They went ahead to groom these loyalist tribes and then into military force, into all kinds of educational background that was bequeathed to these various tribes in Nigeria as well as in Britain. So before the independence was formally inaugurated in 1960, we were told that the northern Nigeria had dragged their feet and did not want to quickly own up to the arrangement of the independence of one Nigeria, as it were. They drag their feet because they see themselves as educationally disadvantaged people who will not be able to compete favorably with the other two major tribes called the Wa and the Bia. So, as it were, the British found the northern hegemony as a very loyalist side or chunk of the three big elephants to be nurtured and to be romanticized because they were seen as good people, they were seen as more cool-headed, they were seen as more loyal. So the British had to play along with the Northerners, and the Northerners were very systematic, they were very wise in their calculation. So in going along, they were able to play the politics of division, and then they were able to play the game of ruling with their head, with their understanding of the system, and they use religion as a weapon to be able to penetrate the western region and then got the western part of the country to go along. So ever since, the West has played the second fiddle, while the East, as it were, could not understand the game. So much so, they fell into some of the traps that were set by these two other bigger tribes. And then that has been the game since 1960. The Eastern region felt they have been marginalized, and the Western region and the North have been enjoying the cruise every single step of the way. Of course, while the Eastern region may say they are marginalized, we would disagree, because the Eastern region have also had to enjoy so many opportunities, much as the North and the West did. If you look at the framework of Nigeria composition, you'll find that even up to now, the East have always enjoyed certain rights and certain privileges because of their educational background and because of their entrepreneurial skill and because of their business astute lifestyle that had almost become a worldwide, phenomenon. So that be as it may, the West and the North have always ruled Nigeria up until this point. Yes, where has the South been? The South has been disenfranchised the most. The South has been relegated the most. The South has been spited upon the most. The South has been denigrated the most. The South has been relegated the most. And the South have been most cool-headed. And God so kind, the South has all the wealth that have always kept the country on its feet. So that is God's calculation. And no man can be able to blame God for working in that manner to put the South, who are marginalized, who are kind of like beaten down, make sure that the wealth of the country that made the country run lie in their territory. So this has been the game. Who are we to blame? We are not going to blame ourselves, because if you look down memory lane, most of these individuals that became the elites of the country were young people. Young people, they were, though very sound academically, they were sound in mind. But when you talk about maturity, to be able to understand the future of Nigeria and the destination that Nigeria was headed, that was a question. I do not think in my calculation that these people have what it took to be able to navigate Nigeria forward. But fate could have it. Yes, they took into their various positions as head of state and head of the different parastatals, and they managed the country into the time where the Civil War broke out. Yes, we've had to go through the Civil War, and here we are today. The Wa-Zo-Bia has been a phenomenon that has become a curse rather than a blessing in Nigeria. So in my next video, I'm going to be talking about why the Wa-Zo-Bia have to apologize to Nigeria. Why the Wa-Zo-Bia have to apologize to the rest of Nigeria, because they have not done well. They have misruled Nigeria. They have not really acted the way they should, because had they done what they should, Nigeria wouldn't have been the way it is today. So that is my first video in this enlightenment and a very brief run through or glance through of the background of Nigerian history and why we are where we are today. So I see you in my next video as I talk about the state of affairs in the nation. God bless you.